Hello, happy post Thanksgiving. And I'm hoping for everyone that your Thanksgiving was a little bit different than what it has been in the past, but that you enjoyed it. I'm Dr. Geoffrey, crisis and split second decisions expert, change management expert, as well as an ER doctor. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to have a conversation about these vaccines because once again, we've managed to confuse the masses. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring about some understanding. And all this comes as a result of the work I do with a number of companies. As you all know, in my full-time job, I go around and I teach executives, corporations, teams, how to manage crisis, how to make split-second decisions, and how to deal with change. But as a result of COVID, COVID has become a crisis for everyone. And I live into a number of different organizations and go on site live. The vaccine has been coming up in a number of my talks and conversations and paid consulting events. So we're going to have a very broad conversation about these vaccines. And in the end, you will not hear me make a recommendation yet. But I think that as you listen to them, as you research them, that you have a broad understanding of what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Does anyone know how many vaccines are on the market now? I wouldn't say on the market, that are in development. There are 49 current vaccines that are in development, 49. But there's 3 who have sought emergency approval or will seek it in the next couple of days. And by me discussing these 3, please do not take it as an endorsement, because it's not yet. There is Pfizer, BioNTech, there's Moderna, and there's AstraZeneca, Oxford. It's important for you to understand this because while there's 3 companies, there's only 2 different ways that we're talking about making this vaccine and understanding it. Don't worry. While I'm a scientist, I'm not going to let this turn into a scientific conversation. The goal, as it has always been, is to make you all super users. So you can go to your communities, to your corporations, to your companies, and encourage people to think, encourage them to do their own research. The Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna. Let's view them the same way because they use the same technology. They use messenger RNA technology. Messenger RNA technology. Let me make this real simple. The way this works is, let me break it down this way. All right. Do we have time? Have you ever purchased something from Costco, IKEA? All right. The way it usually comes, let's say you purchase something that needs to be put together. It comes in a box and it comes with an instruction manual, parts and tools. All right. It comes in that. But then that's the first sale. But then you need to get someone to put it together. So you pass it to an assembler. And that assembler reads the instructions that are already there. It gathers the tools it needs and it puts it together for you. Once it's all put together, the customer can take it home and use it. Let me explain what that means. As it relates to the technology for the Pfizer and the Moderna, what it does is it takes the messenger RNA from the COVID, takes it from the COVID, injects you. Then your DNA reads that RNA, goes through a process, and then it makes the spikes that are similar to SARS-CoV-2. It makes spikes that are similar. And then that's when your body develops antibodies. In other words, the Moderna and the Pfizer way, they allow your body to create the antigen. The antigen is the SARS type of the spike proteins, and then your body produces antibodies to that. I know it seemed technical, but you got to understand when they talk about messenger RNA. Now let's go on to the and let me just give you some facts about that. For the Pfizer, it's about 95% effective. For Moderna, it's about 94% effective. The trial size about 42,000 people for Pfizer and about 30,000 people for Moderna. As relates to the racial breakdown within this country, about 30% of the people were people of color, with 10% of them being traditional Black people. 10% being traditional Black people. Worldwide, about 10% were Black, 26% were Hispanic, 8% were, I can't read my notes, and about 5% were Asian. So about 42% were people of color. The other 58% were our white brothers and sisters. And this is where it gets interesting. For Pfizer, it's got to be stored in about -70. Dry ice is fine. Dry ice is fine. They already have a mechanism and a system and an infrastructure in place for that. But for Moderna, it needs to be stored at about -20 degrees. All right, boom, that's that. Now let's talk about the third one, the AstraZeneca Oxford. The AstraZeneca Oxford. They have made this one using this basically similar technology that they've always have made vaccines for. So there's nothing earth-shattering about this one. The fact that they were able to like do it is earth-shattering. Basically, they use an adenovirus vector. That is getting too technical. Let's just say that how they made this one is similar to how they make the MMR and the flu vaccine. Let's tell you about the stats. It is about 90% effective after a half a dose and a full dose. It's about a half a dose and a full dose. It's 92 effective. It only needs to be refrigerated. My gut, and by the way, this is not academic peer-reviewed information. What I'm about to say now. In the end, I think that the AstraZeneca will be the most commonly used worldwide. Within cities, I think that where they have plenty of refrigeration and access to a dry ice, Pfizer and Moderna will probably rule that space. And then just real quick, the priorities will be the way that it's laid out now, that if you're in a high risk area, meaning there's a lot of COVID going on, the priority is going to be high risk populations and healthcare workers. High risk populations and healthcare workers. Then if you are in a low risk area, meaning that there's not a lot of COVID patients in that same area, it would be healthcare workers as well and high risk patients such as the elderly. The general population, let's just be clear, whether or not you're in the high risk population or whether or not you are in the high risk area, meaning there's a lot of COVID, or whether or not you're in a low risk area, there's not a lot of COVID. The general population will be the last to be vaccinated. The question that you end up having to ask yourself is really a leadership question. It surrounds your decision making, because what is going to be difficult is many of you are going to want more answers than are truly available. You're going to know, well, what are the long-term side effects? Nobody knows, because this is a new vaccine. It's similar to like no one knows what the long-term side effects are of COVID. We're starting to get some information because we're 9 months out. But long-term side effects, you will not know. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, do you trust science or do you not trust science? And then you're going to have to make a deliberate decision. You're going to have to be thinking it through, looking at the information available versus a split second decision where there's a time constraint, limited amount of information and critical consequences. I would encourage you to just understand what split second decisions are so that you can compare and contrast it to the deliberate decisions that you're getting ready to make. Look, there's a very good chance that you will get COVID. There's a bit.ly attached to that gives you a lot of COVID information to learn how to make maximum split second decisions for you and your family. You can hit that bit.ly attached as well. But in the end, we're going to be safe out there. And I would encourage you to continue to look out for your families. Be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.